What's up, YouTube? We are here on the computer almost. I've got this green screen back here, and you'll see why here in a second. This video is going to be talking about AirDNA.co, not com, but .co, and I'm going to teach you how to use it to make good decisions regarding vacation rentals in Italy. You can use this principle across the world, though. These AirDNA actually works a little bit better in the US because you can also compare it to costs of property that is being tracked, I think, through Zillow's analytics. But in Italy, you don't have that option because we don't have a Zillow here. There are three types of people who might be interested in this: is property managers, investors, and Airbnb owners, hosts. AirDNA has a lot of tools, a lot of analytics to offer you, so you can make smart decisions, keeping your pricing at the right level, or helping you decide, is it worth investing in right now? And yeah, that's what we're going to look at right now. Okay, so I'm going to open up the computer. This is AirDNA.co, and the very first things you can do, you can either search for a neighborhood, but if I do that, it's just going to tell me you need to log in with a free account. And so I'm just going to go ahead and log in with my free account. You can get a link in the description. I am an affiliate. If you go sign up for free, great, it's free. Literally, I'm going to teach you how to use it for free first. If you do decide it's worth adding to your artillery, to your tools, for your investment tools, then I appreciate it in advance. If you don't feel comfortable doing it, don't do it right now. But just listen to this for a second. The vacation rental market is a little bit down, obviously, a lot of it down. Even Airbnb has struggled during this period. They've had laid off people, and it was unexpected for all of us that this year would turn out this way. Well, we can either hide and say, well, I'm going to wait until everything is perfectly settled, and then I'm going to start investing. We have two situations to face. Either this is how it's going to be for the upcoming future, or it could only get better. I'm going to say that will only get better. I guess technically there could be a third option, but we're going to assume it's going to get better. I believe it will get better. And so what this tool will help you do, even though the data is a little bit off compared to typical markets, you'll be able to see, especially if you use it as a paid user, historically how this year went as compared to 2019 and 2018. And then what this tool is supposed to help you do is poise yourself in the market so that you're gaining as much revenue as possible. Because, for example, in this market right now, the prices dropped. And if you were using this tool, you could have seen that price drop, but it can help you make decisions, daily decisions for your business instead of just putting your Airbnb on autopilot during a recession. You'll have a really clear outlook on what the market is doing on a daily basis. I am on the login page. You can either create an account here, and this is a free account, or you can do but you'll see, you actually have to pay per area or per zone that you're going to be investing in. That's why it's not good to just start paying for it, because to basically pay for the whole world would be a really expensive account. So go ahead and just log in. The very first thing you need to do is to decide which market you want to check out. So I'm going to show you a market I have unlocked. Lecce, I love Lecce. I've been talking about it recently, a lot actually, and so I have it unlocked for you to see. If you don't have it unlocked, if you're on any other zone, and you can go up here and see the view unlocked market, and you can play around in here and check these other tabs over here to see what exactly is being offered through a paid account. Santa Monica is the only free account just off the bat, but we're going to go back and look at the free markets first, aside from looking at Lecce here for a second, so we can get some comparisons, okay? What I'm going to do is I want to find another area that has a better vacation rental market potentially than Lecce does. You can see right here the market grade for Lecce is a C+. It doesn't sound so good, and you can even see that the rental demand, revenue growth, seasonality are all pretty low. And if you don't understand, you just hover over these icons and you can read it. How often are rentals booked throughout the year, right? Well, pretty low throughout the year. And maybe this is true, but it's also most likely due to 2020 being a problematic year for this market. All right, so you can see there's a whole bunch of stuff. Most of this stuff is available for the free account. You can see almost everything. What I want to just look at quickly is the C+, 70 euros as an average daily rate, an occupancy rate of 32%, and revenue of 514. This is a median monthly revenue for a 12-month period. And all of these are based on the last 12 months. You can see there's a little graph saying May was a low month, August was a high month, April was a low, August was a high, and that's pretty typical. There are some outliers in other areas. It's pretty interesting to see sometimes where like March had the highest daily rate and then it dropped, right? Because everybody was like reacting to trying to get as many renters as possible for that year. You can also zoom in. You can see, you can like toggle these on and off saying, I only want to look at studio apartments, and you can even hover over these little dots. The bigger the dot, the higher the average daily rate. You can see their occupancy rate. You can see the days available. So that's literally how many days per year this home was available to rent as a choice of the host, right? This one, only 10 days available, 45 euros. So these people, you know, maybe they go on their vacation and they open it up for this 10-day period so that they can make a little bit of revenue while they're gone. And potentially they're going to make about 450 euros. And that's good. The purple one here, what it shows is entire homes. And if I want to toggle these back on, the blue is the private rooms inside of another home. And then the green here is a shared room. So in Lecce, they didn't like the shared room option. But if you went into Santa Monica, you would see a lot more. Here's one. So I know this area, there's a shared room, maybe 2 beds in that same room. They're renting 28 euros for this one, 20 euros for the next one perhaps. And I typically stick with these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bedroom options. And I like to compare myself based on maybe a 2 or 3 bedroom option and see how many are for rent on Airbnb. Look at these things. It's insane. Now you can see there's the number 1,356 active rentals. That's not all of 3 bedroom or 2 and 3 bedroom. I literally toggled some of them off, right? But you can see a high majority, and you can even look down here and see how many are 2 and 3 bedrooms. So out of the 1,359, was it? 356. Out of that number, we have 359 that are 2 bedroom and 115 which are 3 bedroom. And the majority are just 1 bedroom apartments. And that's kind of like, that's the Italian way, I would say. They've already decided to split them off and subdivide them themselves and try to make as much money as possible from them. So yeah, that is my unlocked Lecce market, and I'm going to show you these things here in a moment. But I think what we're going to do first is look for a different market that has a better revenue stream, supposedly. Because Lecce is amazing regarding the town of Lecce, but the actual beach area is less popular. And so we're going to see if some of these more popular areas, like you go to Melendugno, already we're seeing that for the year it's about the same. As average daily rate is higher, but their revenue is not that much more. And so let's keep going down to Otranto. Otranto is a pretty popular area. And we have our revenue is a little higher, but the average daily rate is also a little higher, right? So another popular, on the other side, there's a few popular areas down here. Ugento, Gallipoli, and Nardò. Nardò, I'm going to go to, it's actually one of the closer one to the area. You can see for this year, they're all pretty comparable, but the average daily rate's a little bit higher. It looks like the Adriatic side is a little bit better regarding the occupancy rate. Here's a higher occupancy rate and a higher revenue. This is Porto Cesario, Torre del Pilo, Torre Castiglione, Punto Prosciutto. These are beautiful areas with a higher average daily rate. So far, this is looking like the better option to choose. I'm also going to just real quick look at one of these smaller inland cities, because Nardò we already looked at. Nardò is the second largest city, from what I understand, in the Salento Peninsula. Like, it's in Puglia, but Salento is just the actual heel portion. Galatina is the 3rd largest. So if we go and check out Galatina real quick, it's a lot lower comparably. Now again, this is 2020. We need to be able to see more history. But we can get an idea of the popularity of certain areas by looking at the free account in this way. I also know that this is one of the more popular areas down here, still only with about a 500 euro revenue, median monthly revenue for the last 12 months. And then Gallipoli has a higher one as well. This is actually where my favorite beach in all of Puglia is. Now, I haven't seen all of them, but this is my favorite one right here in this area of that natural reserve. This is a good start. I did not check in the middle here. There's a little place called Vernole. There's actually an airport there that was almost going to be like invested in to get more people to come there, and it didn't end up all working out. So yeah, we can see, I guess I should have all these toggled on. I like to work with the homes, the entire homes, and see how many there are and where they're located. All right, so you can kind of see there's a lot of things to look at here, but this is what a free account can do for you. You can get a good idea of the types of rentals, the average daily rates from one location to another, so that you can narrow down precisely what area you want to unlock next. I'm personally more interested in unlocking an area that I like to visit often. It's one of those things where I might use the property in the future. If I particularly like an area, which is, for example, down here in Gallipoli, I love Gallipoli, and the market seems to be a little bit stronger. I don't spend that much time in Gallipoli itself, but I do really enjoy this reserve right here. So if I can find something that perhaps is in this area, even if it's even in Taviano. Someone in the comments actually invited me to come check out Taviano. I hope to be able to take them up on that. Just looking at it here, you can see the revenues are just slightly less, but it's also because right here there are still beautiful beaches, and this is a larger village that supports this rental market as well. It's because Gallipoli is right on the beach, a little bit more expensive. Taviano and Alesio right here are the next closest towns next to this nature reserve. So what I'm going to do right now is unlock Gallipoli, show you how it's done, and we're going to see how it really stacks up against Lecce, because it should have a better grade. I'd assume a C+. I'm not sure how they grade this thing, and I'm going to show you the advantage of having two of them unlocked in comparison with each other. Let's try it out. Let's see what happens when I purchase this. So that's what you click purchase, and you can do city plan or global and custom plans unlimited, where you can basically ask for all of Italy. But even all of Italy would actually be pretty expensive, and so I don't recommend it unless you have like a large number of properties. I'm talking about a large number of properties to invest in. Okay, so I've actually already got this and that already set up. And so if you have a promo code, you can insert that here, but otherwise you just hit purchase now, and you'll see here in a second that all of Gallipoli is going to be unlocked and accessible to me. Okay, you can go view your report and it opens up. So before, okay, it's actually a little bit worse. Interesting. I would have expected it to be a little bit better. Lecce as a C+, and probably 1,356 active rentals. And then we have Gallipoli, which is down here, which is 1,345, and still only a C. So interesting. You can see the seasonality is much lower. That's one of the problems. Lecce is a large city, so people will come and it will visit more often for business purposes, and so the season's a bit longer. So that's a potential reason that it has a lower score in Gallipoli. And the revenue growth actually is a little bit higher, rental demand's a little bit higher. Yeah, anyway, interesting. That's okay. I was hoping for a better market, but I got a C. I guess that's still a passing grade. Well, let's look at the tools that you have at your disposal when you unlock a market, because that's why we unlock it in the end, right? Very first thing, we can pop in and see some percentile rankings for each of these properties. We can filter it by in homes, bedrooms, how many people it accommodates. I think this is more accurate, how many people it can accommodate, because that's really what controls the price, how many people benefit from this. Or based on thinking of it from a client perspective, I can fit 12 people instead of renting 3, yeah, for sure I'll pay more. We can see the booking lead time against the occupancy rate. We can see its growth from a monthly basis. We have our booked properties. These are the number of listings that had at least one book day in the last month. Okay, so 568 properties had a booking in the last month. The filter by bedroom and all that kind of stuff. You can click to show or not show, so you can see a better graph on how this private room or shared room information has been. Like literally, shared rooms are out for 2020. Here in our rates section, you can still see over here on the map, and I can filter it by all of the properties or just the entire homes. And it looks like the majority of the market are entire homes here in Gallipoli. We can see the average daily rate and how it behaved through 2018, 2019, and you can see that big drop between, you can see the difference is booked properties and the average daily rate, and how they both decreased slightly for the entire 2020, right? This looks like about the start of where it all happened, and then it's growing even in May. It was almost the same, but you can see here in June, booked properties, 1,187. This was down to 900, so 200 less properties, more than a 20% decrease from one year to the next. This one's 1,351. This one is 1,347, so that's 600 less. That's crazy. And then you can see how it's doing its cyclical behavior. There are so many tools that you can use. You can see the revenue as it's divided between entire homes, private rooms, and shared rooms. Literally right now, the shared rooms are not the thing. If we didn't know that COVID was, if we didn't know that the contagion rate is the problem here, we could see, oh my gosh, nobody's doing shared rooms, why not? And we could offer some shared rooms right there, but we definitely know why. Okay, so hopping down onto the price section here, we have three options: pacing, rate calendar, and seasonality. In this future demand analysis, it starts with today, and it shows the median booked rate against the booked listings. So it's showing, well, the booked listings were actually a lot higher than the median rate for November, and that's probably because people are like, I have been locked in all this time, I want to go. That's the way I see it. And then at a certain point, the number of booked listings just drops below what is typical. Now that's not to say it's going to stay that way, but you can see that people are planning way out ahead. March 23rd, 2021, everybody really wants to travel, especially to Italy, since they didn't get to do it last year. There's probably all the people that were planning to come this year anyway, and all the people that were planning to come last year are now booking and wanting to come and stay on vacation. And so you can actually see, if things go well, that starting in February, there's already some room to take advantage of the market. But it's also an unclear future, right? Because this right here is the median book rate of the last year also. So perhaps we're seeing the numbers are skewed a little bit strangely. Here we can actually select some of our properties and compare it to the market. But since we don't have any inserted here, we're just going to go to the rate calendar. So this is my rate calendar. If I have a property, I can again select my property and compare it. So I'm going to actually open up a sample property right here. Market rates. What it does is that here are my rates, these gray ones, and then it'll take this very low demand, 56 euros, and show you the difference, saying your rate is way high compared to this area. Now, I think the sample property is comparing to Santa Monica houses, so that's not a good example at all. Pricing accordingly, here in the area, you can get a good idea of where your market rates stand up against the rest of the market. And here's the area for your property, what is recommended. If I open up the sample property again, you can see how it suggests, well, okay, you should actually have it lower to 221, you should have 251, and this is again Santa Monica examples. This one's for my own properties, so it doesn't have that sample property option, because we already saw pretty much everything. In seasonality, it opens again up this map so I can see these properties. I'll be honest, I wish it would filter out and change based on what I choose over here. I think that would be amazing. That's a request that I guess I'll have to make to them. Basically, the high season is anything in a dark green color, and the low season is anything in red. And you can see low season's a little confused right now. We have people that are coming that probably weren't going to come during this period, but they're just coming as soon as possible. So this whole low season is not very consistent, at least not like a clear red. There's some really high green numbers and some really low. This one's like 31st of December. It's a high vacation month, and right around Thanksgiving maybe. I don't know if people travel to Italy on Thanksgiving, but some of these holidays perhaps as well. The 13th, 14th of February, there's a big difference there. This is my favorite part. In America it's better, but it helps an investor decide, is this worth doing? And so for example, I can enter in any address and saying, well, I want to buy this property. And in America, if it's on Zillow, it knows like a little bit like what it's worth. But it also takes, this is where I grew up, you can see it right here. It shows the annual revenue of $18,000. So if my parents decided to just throw their house as a rental, they can make about $18,000 annually. That's pretty cool. The average daily rate being $113 and occupancy rate of about 45%. What I can decide is that, well, I can buy it for, they've offered it to me for $280,000. This is not true, I'm just saying. And then I can see what it says, well, operating expenses being about $7,476, net operating income $11,000. This is all calculated based on, if I press show details here, I can insert what I think it will cost me to run a rental, and the cap rate will be produced accordingly. And the nice thing is that it does the automatic calculation for what it knows about that area with this average daily rate, occupancy rate, and the annual revenue, and then allows me to put my finances, my financial plan inside and see, well, is that worth it? Well, it would only be worth it if perhaps I could get it for $200,000. No, you know, you'd have to decide at what point, what kind of cap rates you're looking for, right? And I could show you a property in Lecce for this rentalizer thing as well. This is a property that is a residential property at the moment, but so again, if my family that live in Lecce decide to throw their house as a rental, they're just renting the place. So maybe they did a subletting, they could actually make about $12,000, and depending on their management fee, their lodging tax, all that kind of stuff. But if they were managing it themselves, they could save some money. I've seen some properties at $30,000 on that street. I've seen some at $200,000 on that street. I'd say that property, you could probably, it's just an apartment. And so you'd have to be able to filter and compare this average daily rate to the entire homes. I think that would be a great improvement for their stuff. But it shows a revenue forecast, average daily rate forecast, and the occupancy rate forecast, and shows you some property comparisons saying, look, you need it to look like this if you want to charge that. And you can see where they are. They're hopping up and down on the map so that you can get a good idea of what properties have what amenities and features, and it's all right there ready for you. All right, so top properties. We're almost done here. In Lecce, the top #1 property as far as the average daily rate is this one on Airbnb, Villa con Piscina. You can open up this link and see more pictures and the reviews and things like that. They are making about $38,000. So from what I can see, this one's only making an average daily rate of $171. So what's happening here is either they charge per guest after, and this is just showing their average daily rate aside of those extra fees, and it's really in comparison, or it's just open is available a lot more often than this one is to be at the same level. And I would guess it's most likely that hidden fees thing instead. They like to do that kind of thing. If I want to have the best property in the area, this is what I'm competing with. And it's nice to see that way. The very last thing here, if I want to choose two of my areas and compare them, and I just want to look at the properties with 3 bedrooms or 4 bedrooms, and it accommodates, you know, like at least 8 people. And then I'm going to do the exact same thing here, 3 bedroom, 4 bedroom, and it goes from 8 to 20 people, and I can apply that. and I can see the annual revenue growth, okay? And you can change this to average daily rate, revenue, or occupancy rates. So if I change it to occupancy, I see that in certain August, for example, there's more people that want to stay in Gallipoli. This was for 2020. And it's interesting, we got 2019, 2020 occupancy rates. People were actually staying in Gallipoli more. Now, that might mean that some people took their properties off the market. That could be the case. Maybe they were using it themselves. But let's see, the average daily rate, it was actually comparable. They didn't really reduce it all that much. 256 to 252 in Gallipoli, 184. It actually went up from August to August in Lecce. And it's kind of an interesting thing to see. Everyone was saying, well, no, that's not true. The market was horrible in Italy. But actually, more Italians stayed in Italy and more Europeans stayed in Italy than in previous years. Hopefully you can see how advantageous it could be to use AirDNA.co to make some decisions for your Airbnb or VRBO listings. Again, use the link in the description, and I would appreciate that because it will help this channel grow even faster. You saw that the rate, if I was to purchase, for example, Melendugno, it would only be about $20 per month. Lecce costs about $40 per month, and Gallipoli, I don't even remember. At this point, you can see the more markets you have, the more expensive it gets. So you really want to make sure you're justifying that with income from that area, or you just use it for a month and you cancel it so that you're using it to make that investment decision. I mean, that's what I've done in the past, saying I want to invest there, spend $20, get a really good idea of the vacation rental market, and then just change markets or even shut it down if I'm not using it anymore, or continue to pay for it depending on if I'm finding it valuable for making my decisions. If you have any questions, write them in the comments, and if you want to reach out and ask me about this, again, I advise you not to jump and just start paying for it because you want to support the channel. Find a way to actually use it for yourself before you start throwing money at this thing, because it can get pretty expensive. You want to make sure you're justifying the money spent by having money coming in from some passive income investment. At the same time, we're going to be using this a lot more to do some property comparisons for that area that I've been searching specifically. I should have unlocked Melendugno now that I think about it, because I saw more properties in that area than in Gallipoli. In the future upcoming videos, I want to find a piece of property in Gallipoli for my family because personally I love it there. Being on the Adriatic coast could be sufficient, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes. And just go ahead and sign up for a free account so that you can get an idea and start planning your future. Again, it's easy to just keep your eyes closed and say, I'm going to wait for everything to get all normal again. But with a tool like this, you might be able to see some things arriving or some interesting behaviors based on your Airbnb. It's not being rented, why not? And you can adjust yourself accordingly, because potentially you're missing out on some revenue that you could have been making. Or even for next year, you can see that there are some people that are interested in traveling, and you can invest now to be prepared for the future as well. And you get to decide the level of risk you want to take. It could be a smart decision, but you definitely have to go 100% in, 100% focus, get it done, and start earning passive income for your family. Thanks everybody, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed the video. It's a little bit long-winded, but there was a lot of things to show here. We'll be using this tool more to talk about the real estate in Lecce, in the surrounding area more in the upcoming weeks. Thanks everyone.